Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Neurotic Mom, and I'm going to take one of my childhood favorite treats and turn it into a new and improved giant version of the classic ding dong. All right, the first thing I need to do is I'm going to make that delicious cream that is inside of that ding dong. I always kind of wish there was a little bit more. Did any of you wish that? There was a little bit too much cake to ratio. So I'm gonna do a lot. We're gonna put a lot of really yummy filling inside of this ding dong. So for the filling, I've got some cream here. And can you believe it? The only other ingredient I need is pudding. I have instant vanilla pudding mix. Normally you make pudding with milk, right? But we are going to do it with less amount of cream. Okay, this is gonna whip for quite a while, so about 4 minutes. Okay, that is fantastic. I mean, the cream's a little more yellow than the ding dong, but that's just because they put a little bit of color in the pudding. Okay, this cake part really isn't that hard because I want it to be just like a ding dong. So there's not gonna be frosting in between. It's just gonna be cake with the cream right in the center and then cake. And I'll show you how I'm gonna do that. I have this 8-inch chocolate cake layer, and I'm just gonna get it set on the bottom of that cake board. Now, here's what I'm gonna do. I am going to scoop out part of this cake. Like I said, I want more cream to cake ratio, because that's the best part. But if you like more cake, then just make this like scoop thing smaller. I don't wanna go all the way down to the bottom, because then I do have to move this to pour the ganache on. So I don't want to scoop too far. And then I'm gonna do the same thing in the other piece of cake and just load that filling in. So it's not just in the bottom here, it's gonna be in both. So I'm gonna turn this layer upside down. So here's this regular ding dong. Do any of you remember when they used to be in foil? Do you remember that? And I wish they still were. Don't throw away those cake scraps. Those make for really good cake pops, or you can just sit and eat them with a little bit of frosting on top. It's delicious. Very nice and stable, but still soft like a mousse. It's not like a frosting or buttercream. It's light, but stable. I don't know what your favorite Hostess treat was, but I prefer ding dongs over Twinkies, which is weird because I don't love chocolate cake, but I think this filling is so good. Layer on top now, just want to kind of, oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. And remember, there's no frosting in here, just cake with the cream. Now we do need to cover it with just a very, very thin layer of chocolate buttercream, because that's going to smooth it out for that delicious, like glossy chocolate finish on top, the ganache. So I'm just gonna do a light crumb coat, not just hardly any frosting. I'll be scraping a bunch of this off, but that's gonna help with the glaze that goes on. This is more than a regular crumb coat. It's gonna need to be a little smoother. Okay, before I go over the top, I'm gonna scrape this just so I can have some of that extra frosting to put on the top, because I don't wanna refill my piping bag. I've gotten a lot better at this, but the hardest part of the cake decorating is the smoothing part. And my goodness, when I was first starting out my cake journey, I would spend half an hour scraping that darn cake and patching and scraping and patching until I'm almost in tears. But I've learned to, first of all, it doesn't have to be absolutely 100% perfect. Never will be. And second of all, I'm just better at it now because I have made, it's gotta be in the thousands of cakes. I'm just gonna go around the top, get that top extra smooth. Now this is gonna be covered obviously, and it's a ding dong. So, I mean, it doesn't just wanna have big like divots in it, because then the mirror glaze won't fall properly. But like, it doesn't need to be totally sharp on the edges, not totally flat on the top, but just as smooth as possible. So now we're gonna go put it in the freezer and let that set. And the ganache is just cream and chocolate. I need to make a lot because I want to make sure that it goes all the way around in 1 or 2 passes, because if it only covers half down the sides, then when I try to do it again, it'll be uneven. So It's better to make more than less. Okay, I want it hot enough to melt the chocolate, but not so hot that it curdles, scald it too much. So let's measure out what I have here. I have some candy melts, and I'm using chocolate chips. That's 2. Let's see what that does, and then I can adjust as necessary. Just want to make sure I have plenty. Do you ever have certain ways of eating things? So I feel like the recipe's changed. There used to be a little bit more chocolate on the outside, and it was like kind of a shell almost, but I used to eat the frosting part all the way around, and then I would break it in half and eat out of the middle. Anyway, I don't know if you ever did that as a kid. Needs more filling. Mine's gonna be so much better. Okay, are we ready for the fun part? The stressful and the fun part. Mirror glaze, you got 1 shot. You got 1 shot with mirror glaze, and then it's done. Okay, so I've got just for easier cleanup, I've got a tray here. I'm just gonna line it with some tin foil, and then I can just wrap it up and throw it away. You want a nice, large, sturdy bowl. So I've got a glass bowl here. It's tall, it's quite heavy, because I'm going to set the cake on top of that and then glaze over so it can drip off the bottom, because you want the outer part of the cake. You'll see. So I'm just gonna get like a large spatula in here and just kind of run it along the bottom without taking too much frosting off. Sorry, I wasn't fully prepared. Just, if you get a piece of wax paper, you can hold it down. All right, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous. It's go time. Here we go. Oh, we can do this. Okay, I have lots of ganache here, and I have a bowl with a little bit of a spout that makes it a little bit easier. So here we go. You just want to pour a lot. Did I get it covered all the way around? I think I did. Yeah, you got to do it fast so it just will be all. Oh, it looks so good. And I still have some left over. I'll save that. I'll put it in a drip bottle and save it for later for a drip. Okay, now you just gotta sit and let this drip for a while. And if you wanna speed up the process, you can put this whole tray in the fridge or freezer, because we do need to let it set completely before we try to move it onto its like display board or whatever. So we can cut into it and see inside. So I'm gonna see if I can fit this in my freezer very carefully. All right, this has been in my freezer for 20-30 minutes, and it's solid now. Don't worry about these little pieces that are dripping down. You can easily push them underneath, cut them off. So you just, because that ganache is set, you can even touch it without it sticking to your fingers. Or after you place it on the board, you can just kind of wipe them off. All right, scary part. First of all, it's gonna kind of be stuck to the bowl. So I'm gonna get a knife and just kind of go for this. I really wanna do this without messing up the ganache. So I'm just gonna gently pry it off, move it, and you wanna try to let go without messing up. Don't worry, I'll fix that. Buttercream or frosting is always fixable. Remember how like bubbly and not smooth that ding dong was? I think this is pretty, ooh yeah. This is pretty darn good. Here's another trick though. Get your fingers slightly damp and you can smooth things out without smearing it. I know, weird, right? Just make sure your hands are clean. Okay, everyone, here's the finished, here's the original, here's the new and improved, I think better tasting version, but still reminiscent and nostalgic like the classic ding dong. So we're gonna cut into this just for fun. Let's cut into this one. Let's cut out a cute little slice, and then let's cut out a slice from the big one. I'm just heating up my knife because for the cleanest cut, you want a cold cake and a hot knife. And why am I nervous? Okay, it's gonna be so good. Oh my gosh, that just cuts so beautifully. If you want a really clean cut, you can rinse it off and get your knife hot again. Dun, dun. Okay, let me get my spatula. Oh, I need a plate to put it on. Ta-da! Should we taste this? The only thing I wish there was a more white version of the filling, but I promise the taste is so good. Yes, there is a lot of filling on there. Holy heck yes, that is so good. That is so much better. The cake is really rich, tender, moist. And then you've got more of that delicious filling. Oh my gosh, I don't even like chocolate cake and I could eat that whole slice. So that's it for today. And in case you haven't heard, I have a free workshop that you can sign up for. The link is down below and you can learn all the tips and tricks that I've learned over the years in how to make really beautiful cakes. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you want to see more content like this, just make sure you subscribe to my channel and I will see you next time.